If you are a homeowner and your home has renewable energy such as solar panels, you may qualify to take the clean energy tax credit. You can claim the credit every year that you install new renewable energy, and there are no annual or lifetime dollar limits except for credit limits for fuel cell items. If you have already installed renewable energy this year or you are planning to install some items, please don't overlook this federal tax savings opportunity. You may want to take advantage of the residential clean energy credit sooner rather than later because it's not a permanent federal tax credit. Now, before we get into the details about whether you qualify to take the credit, what expenses you can take, and how much credit you can get, I do have to let you know that I'm sharing this information for educational purposes. This is not legal or tax advice. Every situation is different, so please discuss your specific situation with your tax advisor before you do anything. So who qualifies to take the credit? Well, you might qualify if you made renewable energy improvements to your main home. Your residence can be a house, houseboat, mobile home, co-op apartment, condominium, or a manufactured home that conforms to federal manufactured home construction and safety standards. Your main home is where you live most of the time. Even if you are a renter, you can take the credit. If you are a landlord or you don't live in the home, you cannot take the credit. If you have a second home that you live in part-time and you never rent out the home to anyone, you might be able to claim a credit for renewable energy, excluding fuel cell items, on your second home as well. You can claim the credit for fuel cell improvements only on a principal residence. One really nice thing about the residential clean energy credit is that you can use it for your existing home or on a home being constructed. The home does have to be located in the United States though. One really not so nice thing about the residential clean energy credit is that it's non-refundable, so you won't be able to increase your federal tax refund by the credit. Unlike the energy efficient home improvement credit, you can carry forward any excess unused residential clean energy credit and use it to reduce your federal taxes in later years. In just a moment, we are going to go over the credit amount you can receive and what items qualify for the credit, but please be careful when it comes to calculating your expenses. You don't want to include any loan interest or loan origination fees in the expense amounts that you use for the credit. Also, if you received a public utility subsidy, you are required to reduce your cost by the amount of the subsidy, unless the subsidy was included in your gross income. You will also reduce your cost if a contractor received the subsidy on your behalf. If you receive a rebate for any of your improvement expenses, you will have to subtract the rebate from your expenses if all three of the following things are true. 1, the rebate is based on the cost of the improvement. 2, if it comes from someone connected to the sale, such as the manufacturer, distributor, seller, or installer. And 3, if it isn't given as a payment for services you provide. There are some states that provide energy efficiency incentives and call the incentives rebates, but most of the time these are not rebates for federal income tax purposes. You normally will not reduce your expenses for these state incentives. Usually you will include state incentives in your gross income on your federal income tax return instead. If you have any business use of your home, you have to take that into consideration as well. If the business use of your home is no more than 20%, you may take the full credit amount. If the business use of your residence is more than 20%, you can take a credit for the expenses that can be allocated to non-business use. The credit that you can get for installing qualified renewable energy is actually substantial. When you have an item installed, you may be able to take a 30% credit of your cost. You would take the credit in the year when the item is actually installed. If your home is being reconstructed, you can take the residential clean energy credit in the year when you are able to have full use of your home again. When it comes to fuel cell items, you won't get the regular 30%. The credit for fuel cell items is limited to $500 for each half kilowatt of capacity. If more than one person lives in the residence, the combined credit for all residents cannot exceed $1,667 for each half kilowatt of fuel cell capacity. Finally, let's go over which renewable energy improvements qualify for the residential clean energy credit. You can take the credit on new goods and materials only. The improvements that qualify are wind turbines, fuel cells, solar electric panels, solar water heaters that are certified by the Solar Rating Certification Corporation or a comparable entity endorsed by your state, geothermal heat pumps that meet Energy Star requirements in effect at the time of purchase, and battery storage technology that has a capacity of at least 3 kilowatt hours. You may include labor costs for the original installation of the item and labor costs for any on-site preparation or assembly. You may also include the cost for any piping or wiring that was done to connect everything to your home. You cannot include the cost for any traditional roofing and constructional components. For example, You would not include the cost for traditional shingles and roof trusses that are installed along with your solar panels because these shingles and trusses don't generate clean energy. Solar shingles and solar roofing tiles would qualify because they do generate clean energy. To claim the residential energy credit on your federal tax return, you will file Form 5695. Again, you can only claim the credit in the tax year when you installed the improvement. You cannot claim the credit if you simply purchased an item. If you have installed improvements such as windows, doors, air conditioner units, or heating units, you will use a different credit for these items. Please take a look at the video on the lower right of your screen if you would like to learn more about taking an additional credit for these improvements. See you on the next video.